Okay, I said I wasn't gonna make a video on this, and you could guess what it is. It's the Rock on the Pat McAfee show. A lot of people are saying the Rock buried the locker room Triple H, and he buried creative. I wouldn't say, he just totally buried it. I would say he broke kayfabe. He said some slick stuff that shouldn't have been said, but The Rock did this in a very professional type manner that is going to go over some people's head. The way he did it like he was on a talk show like Oprah or CNN or something where, you won't necessarily stay in character. The Rock treated this like he went on a talk show that he wasn't the final boss character. Like he wasn't The Rock. Anyone else, Cody or anyone, they stay not necessarily 100% in character, but they don't break kayfabe. And I'm not going to go into every little detail of what The Rock said, because you could find that on other videos. You've heard it a million times, but essentially, there's definitely some tension between The Rock, Triple H, and probably creative. It's probably more so a power struggle between The Rock and Triple H. Most likely what's probably going on, Triple H, he's been playing the corporate game, since he's married Stephanie. And, he got to the top. He's over creative. But The Rock waltzes in, super part-timer. And all of a sudden, you're on the board of TKO and you're over Triple H. You're essentially Triple H's boss. Triple H doesn't like that. And there's probably some differences. And all in all, The Rock basically said, hey, TKO told him, like, hey, we need sales on tickets. Bring the final boss back. The Rock said, okay, I could come up with a little storyline, which The Rock is, being creative. Did this whole sell your soul to Cody thing. Triple H had a problem with it. Not so much, but he didn't want Cody to turn heel. They turned John Cena heel. They were fine with it. But then after Elimination Chamber, The Rock was like, oh, you don't need the final boss anymore? So something happened between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. And they just don't want to tell us exactly what happened. But if you put two and two together, something definitely happened with that. And The Rock took it up on himself to slightly expose it and throw shade. And I want to say the way he did it, it was kind of aimed at Triple H and creative. And not so much the talent. Maybe 10% the talent. But I mean, it's probably that same normal stuff that goes on at your job. Someone comes in, thinks they know better than you. The Rock probably came there. And The Rock, I'm not going to say The Rock doesn't know what he's doing, but you got to look at it from Triple H's standpoint. Triple H is like, hey, I'm here week after week booking, and I got my creative writers, and we doing this, and then TKO is flexing their power with The Rock, And all of a sudden, The Rock comes back, ticket sales go up. You bring this final boss storyline, so you really can't argue too much with The Rock, because The Rock is using his star power to sell tickets. So I see where there's probably an internal struggle, and The Rock is like, well, you don't want The Rock's help, bye. I'm abandoning it. I'm gonna let you hold this, Triple H, and see what happens. And I feel like Triple H stuck himself in that Hall of Fame because he knows his time might be short. And because why would Triple H stick himself in there with Bret Hart, Stone Cold? Stone Cold should have had his moment, his Hall of Fame moment. Bret Hart should have been in there by himself. He shouldn't have had to share that stage with Triple H and Stone Cold. And Stone Cold shouldn't have had to share that stage with Bret Hart and Triple H. Because Triple H made that Hall of Fame look like he was the top guy in the Hall of Fame. He got his own entrance and, all of that. Man, Stone Cold at one point, and probably still today, is more over than Triple H. But Triple H stuck himself in that Hall of Fame because we might not see Triple H in the next few years if this booking continues like this. Vince McMahon, the last remnants of Vince McMahon was in WrestleMania 40. He didn't have a lot to do with that, but there were still some storylines he had his hands on and things that needed to be resolved from Vince McMahon's mind. WrestleMania 41 was the first totally 100% only Triple H. And then, right before Mania, you had some of The Rock. Maybe 10% The Rock. But Triple H, I'm telling you, with everything going on with that WrestleMania 41 season, Triple H had a lot of things in the background he was doing as well. So, WrestleMania 42, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think the 2025-2026 season, I honestly think Triple H is going to cook. We got the TNA partnership. We got the AAA partnership. I think they're going to be doing something with New Japan and stuff too. And it seems like he's about to bring some of those NXT guys to the main roster. I think this is going to cook. I think, week to week booking and all of this other stuff. I mean, it's a lot for one person, but it's all wrestling centered. And I think that's probably where The Rock and Triple H was butting heads, because TKO saying, hey, we got to make this money. Ratings going down. I think it's going to cook. I think Triple H is going to cook. I mean, come on. You've been in this wrestling game a long time. Y'all got good trainers. You got HBK. You got Tyson Kidd. You got people like Dean Malenko. You got all of this great talent. I see WWE is hiring writers and creativity writers for storylines and stuff. I think we are going to have a good season. The Rock is totally wrong for doing what he did on the Pat McAfee show. There must be some real heat, some real beef there, to where The Rock must want to either get Triple H fired, because there is no way you had to say that after Mania. It's basically The Rock just saying, hey, if WrestleMania sucked, it's because of Triple H and not me. It wasn't because of the final boss. And this final boss, sell your soul to me storyline could have been a great storyline that could have went on for probably a year or even two. But something about that didn't go as planned, with Triple H and The Rock having some kind of differences. I don't know why, but I mean, even with Triple H booking, I mean, you got people booing Bianca Belair for no reason. You know, that's where you need to get your writers, your creativity team, whatever, and, you know, say, hey, we cannot, you know, have our baby faces getting booed when they're in the right. You know, it's, you know, Dominic actually is a baby face now. Whether people want to believe it or not, he was such a good heel that when he won, it was like, damn, like, I mean, that was Dominic's winning the IC title at WrestleMania is going down in history forever. That guy got over that night. And knowing Dominic Mysterio, he's going to run with it. I mean, he's on top of the world maybe more than Jey Uso. So, we going to see what this Rock thing is. I mean, I want The Rock to stay. I kind of want Triple H to stay to see how this goes. They hired I wouldn't say new, but they hired more writers. You know, it's time. I think they needed more writers too. But it's time to move on from WrestleMania 41. It's going to be in New Orleans, WrestleMania 42. They have to cook. I'm going to make a predictions video about WrestleMania 42 before everyone else. I'm going to have probably like the first real deep dive on WrestleMania 42 and what that number 42 symbolizes in Hollywood. I'm going to give y'all some predictions for champions. I don't know about match types. That's going to go in too far. But definitely, I'm thinking WrestleMania 42 is going to be big. The Rock, you are totally wrong for breaking kayfabe. If The Rock would have done this on CNN, Fox News, Shannon Sharp, you know, maybe even that little show Kevin Hart had, you know, if she went on Sherry Shepherd, like, what's her name, Charlotte Flair did, and told some real life stuff, it may would have been okay. Because those people aren't necessarily just die-hard wrestling fans. They want some behind-the-scenes news. But you went on Pat McAfee, broke kayfabe, and blamed the company that you actually run now. If WWE isn't making money, The Rock, you need to take some responsibility for that too. If you thought Triple H booking was horrible, you should have stepped in months ago. You didn't see The Rock taking pictures with people with AAA or none of that. It's like you just show up when you want to. And when you do show up, sales go up. But now, Rock, you left a sour taste in all the fans' mouth And now you actually have some heel heat. You have legitimately you're turning into Hulk Hogan. And Hulk Hogan would have showed up to WrestleMania. So, should we forgive The Rock or not? Should the WWE fans forgive The Rock? Especially the ones from the Attitude Era. Should we forgive The Rock? And should we blame Triple H for WrestleMania 41? Let me know down in the comments.